Hello everyone. Today let's talk about Cheesiest Alliance 3, a new game to a real classic. A game full of parodies,
Splendido.
references, cheesy one-liners,
This won't hurt a bit. Well, it won't hurt me anyway.
explosions, and, most importantly, mercenaries. From the internet! The first game of the series came out way back in 1994. That's older than most gamers these days. My only memory of this game was my father, the man who introduced me into the beautiful world of gaming, playing it all the way back when I was still in primary school. However, funnily enough, I've never played this game before. But when I saw this game on Steam, 2 plus 2 equals buy. So, I bought the game, booted it up, and started a new game. You start the game by selecting your difficulty and difficulty modifiers, which are also movie references, like this one, or that one. After that, the game starts a cutscene and it shows me this. In a nutshell, this series is a parody of blockbusters and pop culture, taking jabs at them for their ridiculousness and turning it into a comedy-packed adventure. And they continue this tradition in their newest installment. And after some brief explanation of what's going on, the game lets you choose your mercenaries from a roster of 40 different mercenaries. They have Arnold Schwarzenegger, hairless Rambo wannabe, actual Rambo, but black, Snake, this guy, and so much more. All with their own sets of skills, specialties, and characteristics. Then, the game drops you off on an island. Teeny tiny island, which is basically the tutorial level, but at the same time not really a tutorial. It acts like you know everything about the game, unless you go on your merry way. Until you get shot or your weapon starts to jam. And then, and only then, the game tells you, uh-oh, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done this instead. Yeah, game, thanks a lot. Where were you when I needed that info 5 minutes ago?
Anything for you.
This is because, back in those days, there were no tutorials. There was no holding your hands. There was, however, guidebooks. Yes. Some of you are starting to feel old, huh? However, since no one in this day and age read anymore, they found a way to sneak that info into the game through the loading screen tips. You know, the ones you see while the game loads and it's almost exclusively user stuff like this one, and that one, and that one. Except in this game, not only are they useful, but some of them are pretty fucking important. My god, someone figured out how to use that space effectively. And it was a game with almost 30 years of history, making history again. What a time to be alive.
Come on.
Of course.
In all seriousness, I really love the no hand holding thing this game does. It makes you think, it keeps you on your toes, only teaching and helping when needed. Otherwise the game just lets you make mistakes, forcing you to use a different approach or tactic that you normally wouldn't use, and learn all the mechanics this game has to offer. And speaking of mechanics, boy do they have a lot of it, and I have a story to tell. The way this game makes you learn is by making you fall into a hole, and once you feel like, oh, I've got the hang of this, they spring another one on you. For example, my first hole was running into my first minefield. At this point, I have no idea how to deal with them. I tried to disarm them, and they blow up. Turns out, I needed someone with a high explosive skill. Yeah, at no point did the game ever teach me about that. I had to figure that out by myself.
What's the plan, Chief?
To be fair to the game, you can read up on what all the stats do when you hire your mercenaries. I just didn't bother, and I paid dearly for that. So, off we go to hire Barry.
This is Barry Unger. This is about job? Work is not plenty at the moment, so I cannot be particular.
Plus a couple others. And this solved my first problem. Then, after a while, the game throws its second curveball at me, when I encountered my first weapon malfunction. Having a gun jam at such a crucial moment was so hard to recover from. This was especially bad because everyone's guns was jamming left and right, Plus, my team was being ambushed.
Well,
I knew about weapon conditions and jamming up until this point, thanks to them tips, but I wasn't expecting it would start jamming so frequently at around 60 to 70% condition. I didn't know that you had to keep your guns at tip-top shape the entire time. I thought it could last maybe another 1 or 2 fights. This was an exceptionally and unnecessarily hard fight, simply because of my blunder. And there are a lot more mechanics the game throws at you without explaining it to you or only give you the bare minimum explanation. Like, for example, stats, perks, morale, status effects, weather conditions, night and day cycles, weapon types, armor types, ammo types, armor penetration, wall penetration, weapon modding, character stance, and these are only parts of the mechanics. It will take forever to talk about them, so I'm going to speedrun you guys through some of them. Ready? Here we go. Morale gives buffs or debuffs depending on what happened. Status effects can be inflicted by targeting or getting shot at different body parts. Different weather does different shit. Night and day does different shit. Different weapons have different effects and skills. Different armor have different mobility and damage reduction. Different ammo types do different shit. Armor penetration depends on weapon and ammo type, same for wall penetration. Weapon modding makes your gun do different shit. Up until this point, I've only talked about the combat mechanics. There are more mechanics while out of combat. You guys ready for round 2? Here we go! Character exhaustion, motherfuckers get tired. Town loyalty affects income. Mercenary relationships, they love and hate each other. It's like Game of Thrones here. Enemy attacks, they attack your shit. Enemy shipments, you have a chance to steal some of their shit. Operations, you can't do shit here. Here's a list of shit you can do. Repair shit, heal your mercenaries, train militias, rest, gathering intel, gives you a huge advantage and makes your PP large. And so much more shit that I once again couldn't be bothered with. You want to know the rest? Buy the game and play it. By the way, hashtag not sponsored. Despite all these different and increasingly complex mechanics, and on top of barely explaining any of them, they somehow make it work. Like the game doesn't overwhelm you. It is simultaneously complex and intuitive. I don't know how they did it, but they did. Maybe it was good game design, or maybe it was my understanding of gaming language, or maybe even both. On the technical side, I haven't ran into much issue except for one particular problem where the game stopped auto-saving. But once I sent a bug report, it was fixed pretty much overnight. Still, it is pretty much bug-free to me, which is surprising considering how much mechanics there are in this game. And it's also kind of a rarity these days.
Time to take cover.
Yeah.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
This is Emma LaFontaine. Thank you for agreeing to help me find my father. I don't have much time to talk. I've been told it's no longer safe for me here, so I'm preparing to leave.
Now, onto the story side of things. The story drops you on a fictional country known as Grand Chien. I'm not going to attempt the French pronunciation. You are tasked with saving the president of the country, and maybe blow some stuff up along the way. From the Legion, which is led by someone named
The Measure.
I'm not going to go too far into the story, just know that it is very, and I mean very, blockbuster. It has every cliche you can think of, and yet they somehow do it better than Hollywood. I mean, to be fair, that's not a very high bar to overcome these days. But they actually managed to make it good, even though it's basically every action blockbuster mashed into one. It's great, simply because the game itself is a satire and doesn't take itself too seriously. The side quests are just as good, and in most cases they are much more interesting than the main quest, which is not surprising. Some of these quests require some investigation, searching for clues to piece together what happened, while others are just there mainly for comic relief. For example, there's a Nazi NPC which you can only expose if you found enough clues to do so.
And who is paying you to do that? No one. I am giving you the diamond mine, the very thing you are contracted to take. Yet you wish to interfere in my business instead. Why?
Because I hate Nazis.
And then there's this guy, a man who asks you to fix his TV so he can watch some The writers of this game just do not care. They basically thought to themselves, if I can fit in something I want, then I will. Seriously, I ran into Mad Max in this game. This game was chaos personified. It was awesome. There's a lot more, but I'm not going to cover everything. Just buy the game and play it for yourself. For a game built completely on satire and nostalgia, underneath all its cheesiness, all its references, all its innuendos, and all its one-liners, it is a surprisingly good game. They've successfully modernized a true classic. Believe me, I've tried going back to the older games by playing my father's save file. It felt so outdated to me, and I didn't exactly enjoy it. I bought this game completely on a whim, and I rarely do something like this, and rarer still, that it was worth it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. My previous video about Starfield blew up unexpectedly, and it had a lot of supportive comments. Even though it was basically just a video of me venting about my disappointment about Starfield. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you. I'm not able to react to all of them, but I do try to read as much of them as I can. I noticed a lot of you telling me that Oblivion and New Vegas were better titles, and honestly, I've never played them, so I can't tell you what I think about them. Which is surprising, considering I grew up with games like these.
Go, go, go!
There was also a few of you who suggested Phantom Liberty, which I'll do someday when my wallet allows for it. I hope you enjoyed this video as well, and if you do, please consider dropping a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!